The new Modus Super Series champion.
Oh my word!
It's another incredible moment tonight.
Jeff Smith.
It's match down.
5-star performer, and the bullseye is hit.
It's Johnny Magny.
And he's looking at the double-double, and he gets the double-double rather delightfully. Number 18. 2 9s.
Game shown the third
Meat
leg,
and drink
Hugo.
for Neil Duff. 2 in his hand, a double 18.
Game shown the fourth leg,
14
Johnson.
darter for Dylan Slevin. 2 16s. Oh,
Game
that
shown
is
the second leg, and
effortlessly good from Andy Hamilton. It was these finishes that was a real cornerstone as to her run at the Alexandra Palace that year. Finishes like that under pressure, the
Game
mid-weight
shown the first leg,
shots.
Ballinger.
Friday night at the Live Lounge, the action's about to get underway. Group B comes to a close here on Pluto TV. Hello, good evening. Welcome along to the action at the halfway point. James Buckby, Neil Duff, they both lead the way. 6 points to their name following the first night's worth of action. We're going to be watching this evening in the company of primetime Matthew Edgar. Time darts with him. Let's have a state of play check in terms of the top of the table, because James Buckby and Neil Duff both on 6 overnight.
They are, and they'll be battling it out today, probably for that top spot if the play the same way they did yesterday. James Buckby, very, very impressive. Came into this bit of an unknown, bit uncertain in himself. Tonight, different challenge.
Well, this afternoon it was his roomie Kieran Ford that qualified through to tomorrow night's final. Look, it wasn't quite as good as it was yesterday, but I tell you what, the important thing for him, it was the job got done.
It did, and it got done at the key moments, and that's kind of what we're going to be looking forward to tonight in regards to James. Kieran, there was question marks over his head at certain times. It's a position that he's not been in before in regards to getting that qualification spot. Didn't even book enough hotel space in order to get through to Saturday. Now has got to rejig all his plans, and he'll be very, very happy he is doing so.
And James might have to do the same tonight. They might be topping and tailing. But anyway, let's have a look at Group B at the table at the halfway point. Buckby and Duff both top of the table. Just the one leg on legs difference separating there. Dylan Slevin and Andy Hamilton both on 4 points. Fallon Sherrock without to win on Thursday. We spoke a little bit about James Buckby. What in particular stood out for you yesterday?
Composure. Without a doubt. It's a key attribute that you're always going to need within this game, and you've shown it in abundance. I was very, very impressed from the very first dart. He seemed brash, and I asked the question last night, was that bravado, was it a front, or was it true? And last night it rang true, and he came out swinging, but I said it a moment ago, the biggest problem we've got tonight is expectation now. Now he's probably thinking, I should be there. His roommate this afternoon said he's 100% going to be there. And he will probably feel that he's at least got 1 foot in the door. But the problem is now he's got something to lose, which brings with it a completely different pressure.
Well, he's not favourite with the bookies. Neil Duff is even money. Perhaps no surprises there. Look, because he's been there, he's done it, he knows the course all so well.
Yeah, Neil Duff, rightful favourite for me. I think those odds are pretty much bang on for where I'd like them to be. In fact, when I say rightful favourite, I think it's probably overly generous. I would suggest that Neil Duff should be odds on from this position with his experience and with the success he's had in this venue. I think Duff, rightful favourite.
It is 18 plus. It is gambleaware.org if you're going to have a flutter on the Super Series tonight. Right, let's get into the action. Dylan Slevin and Andy Hamilton kick things off, and I caught up with Dylan earlier on. We can hear from Dylan Slevin now. He caught up with me earlier on this evening. Dylan, third in the group following the first day's play. What would be your overall assessment on the way things went?
Yeah, been here since Monday. Like I said just before here, I said Monday was a bit iffy, but Tuesday wasn't too bad, picked up a few wins, and then Wednesday wasn't too bad either, picked up what I needed to do to get into Group B. Yesterday was first game, a little bit slow, fair play to Jack, played unbelievable, and then picked up the 2 wins towards the end of the night, so hopefully tonight is going to be good.
Is it about peaking at the right time, peaking at this stage of the week for yourself?
Yeah, like you kind of know yourself, like that if it doesn't go tonight, like you're going home, so you just need to get it into your head, like just come out of them traps early, and just it's really the first person to get the 4, and hopefully it'll be a good night tonight.
Have you found post-tour life so far? Obviously, you've had a decent start to the Dev Tour and looking to make an indent here.
Yeah, look, you're playing an awful lot more darts than you are on tour. I'm enjoying it really, like, you're going here, you're going there, you're at WDF, you're playing in a tournament at home, you might do a few ADCs during the week, and then whatever tournaments is locally on at the weekend, and then sure, obviously here this week. No, it's good, like, I'm playing a load of darts, more than I've ever played in the 3 years I've been on tour. So yeah, I'm back enjoying darts at the moment.
Go well, wish you the best, Dylan. Good luck tonight.
Thanks, Henry.
Slevin will be hoping that this is just a drop in his tungsten ocean in 2026. His first assignment of the night is a meeting against Andy Hamilton, who in this game yesterday lost 4-1 for Slevin. That victory meant that he finished the night on 4 points in the group. The 23-year-old from Ireland. And I wonder whether one of his ambitions for the year will be to play at the international pairs up against Andy Hamilton, the 58-year-old from Stoke-on-Trent. Twice a weekly winner here in the past. Will be hoping for a hat-trick come tomorrow night. But first things first, he's got to qualify through, which is a easier said than done thing. Particularly when you look at a group of this quality, and with James Buckby, the outsider, top of the pile, going in tonight two's worth of action, anything's possible. Paul Hicks
Dylan's through first.
is officiating tonight's action. And Matthew Edgar is alongside me in our commentary gantry on this Friday night. I've got to say that it's a little bit nippy up here, but I suppose that's the joy of having the air conditioning on.
Perfectly normal opening question. But you did ask me a better question
26.
earlier on. You asked me what I think was going to happen this evening. And with that, I said that I felt this head-to-head clash would actually be quite key to the destination of which player goes through, alongside our predictions of Buckby and Duff. They are our predictions based on the table, based on what we saw last night, so if they can replicate that. And we've got that game first.
100.
And I wonder if the pair of these have identified the same thing here, because they can get a bit of a jump on that qualification place, because
100.
they're going to look at Fallon as a bit of a, shall we say, a no threat. Whoever wins this isn't going to see Fallon as too much of a danger, because they'll be on 6 points already. We know Fallon can only reach 8, and that's if she runs the card tonight. So on game number 1,
56.
this is the earliest I think I've ever said this on an
121.
evening. I think we're watching something quite important here.
And so the start could prove pivotal. Slevin 1-2-1, not going to get, didn't have to get.
38.
Because Hamilton is trailing all the way back into the 300s.
$135.
135 for Hamilton.
83.
Slevin looking at 83 to put himself a leg to the good in this contest. Double 16.
Game shown the
Double
first leg,
16
Dylan
found,
Slevin.
and that's a 15 darter to put Dylan Slevin one up.
Second leg Andy to throw first. Game on.
Well, it was a slow start, really, wasn't it, yesterday, that cost Dylan Slevin that game against James Buckby. Ended up losing it by 4 legs to 1, only getting 2 darts at a double. And then it felt like he was chasing throughout the night, and
100.
you do tend to get that vibe when you're playing these round robins. If you lose that first one, it sort of always feels like damage or limitation. No one comes in going, well,
59.
I'm happy winning 3 or I'm happy winning 2. It's a consolation prize. With that in mind, Dylan Slevin would have been hoping to hit the ground running tonight, and he certainly has there.
61.
Well, the thing is, the loser knows, as you rightly said, they're going to lose significant ground on the man that they would lose to. And you get the sense that, particularly Neil Duff,
140.
should be able to get the job done. You'd expect him to pick up 2 out of 4 wins over the course of the evening. And so you think realistically you're battling for one spot. And so you don't want to lose any ground to the guy that might well be your most
96.
realistic challenger, your most realistic rival for the evening ahead.
I think evens is a good price tonight on Neil Duff. When you think this afternoon, Scott Mitchell 8 to 15 favourite at the top of the table, ended up not even qualifying. I thought Neil might have been similar tonight. I thought might have been looking around about the 8 to 15 mark.
Yeah, it was rather philosophical with Scott about
162.
how this afternoon went. Slevin fills up with 162. Was that a zoom on the treble 18?
58.
We're
Dylan
paying
Yuka,
people too much
140.
round here. 140 for Slevin. Not to be, he's got 6 from here.
100.
But Solid Ton leads him on tops after 12 and a tangible break opportunity arising. Really positive start here. I know when you're legging a bit in, but just to give an indication of where Dylan Slevin's at, average just underneath the 107 mark.
84. Dylan Yuka, 40.
That's Randy Hamilton. A little bit like last night, a little bit slow out the
He's
gate,
on the
and he's
second leg,
being
Dylan
made to
Slevin.
punish big time here by Dylan Slevin, who has a 2
leg, Dylan
legs
throw
to nil
first. Game
lead.
on.
Started off slowly yesterday, did Andy. Lost his first match, as you mentioned, 4-1 to James Buckby. Ended the night slowly in this one against Slevin. He won 4-1, did
100.
Dylan, in this game. Averaged 92.5, was 4 from 12 in terms of his finishing. Hamilton averaging just a smidge underneath the 73 mark.
70.
But I think when we look at the numbers, the raw data regarding Andy Hamilton's evening last night, it was kind of what he describes it as in himself, isn't it? Andy Hamilton says he's got the game
122.
in there, it's just not there all the time. It's not there as consistently as it was. And I think when you look at the overall average last night of 86.59, you'd say that's good. That's good consistency across the evening for Andy Hamilton. However, asterisk
93.
moment. One of those games, he had his record average of 111.33. So if he's averaging out at 86.5 with 111 on the board, that tells me that that range
45.
is from mid to low 70s up to 111. It could be anything, which ultimately makes Andy Hamilton a very nervy player to play against because you don't know what you're going to get. Much easier to play the players
140.
at the top of the game where you go, right, they're just going to do this. They're going to hit everything. It's fine.
It's human nature to fear the unknown. And when you look
100.
at Hamilton at the minute, he is exactly that.
Gamble there from Slevin, but he got away with it. Should have been down on the 19s with the second dart there. And those small percentages, that's the difference you need to, if you're going to be staying on the tour on a regular basis. You've
96.
got to give yourself
Dylan Yuka,
every single
134.
opportunity.
$58. Andy Yuka, 102.
So Hamilton here looking at 102 to get himself back on the board, and he needs some kind of spark in this contest. Double 16. And that
Game
might
show
well
on the
be the
third leg,
spark for the
Andy
Hammer. His
Hamilton.
first leg of the night comes courtesy of a tub plus checkout.
For
The
the Gandhi
102
through
goes
first. Game on.
back to 2-1, and all of a sudden the contest, which Dylan Slevin looked in control of, has gone back to throw. Good quality game this. 15, 13, 15. The darts acquired to win each of the opening 3 legs of this
121.
contest. And those the numbers. Slevin, 99.5. Hamilton with a couple of legs needed to kind of
100.
get himself up to press. But now really looking to get through the groove. 102 checkout in that previous leg for Hamilton to get himself into the game.
125.
And now on throw, really asking the questions of his young Irish
58.
opponent.
He's done it again. I think we're seeing a little bit of a tell here with Dylan Slevin, because that switch down to the 19s on this occasion, leaving you on 3-4-3. If it's a 180, can't leave a finish.
140.
So now he's guaranteed Andy Hamilton 6 darts because he can't do anything about it. These are the
85.
things you can
And
learn
your car
sometimes when you just start
115.
watching things back.
So 115 for the Hammer to square the game up at 2-2. Treble 20 leaves double 18. Treble 20 not got, and so it's all about leaving it handier for his return.
59.
And the problem Dylan Slevin's got is he's not dropped off the boil much, but Hamilton has improved
100.
immeasurably.
And your car 56.
And it could be back on terms in a couple of moments' time. Double top. And
Game
for
show the
2-0
fourth leg,
down,
Andy
Hamilton is
Hamilton.
level at 2-2. And level at 2-2 in the
Vivek
space of
Dillon through
29
first. Game on.
darts. 15 followed by 14.
$137. $36.
That'll be disappointing for Andy Hamilton, who's fought himself back into this game from 2-0 down. And then when he just needs to keep pace with Dylan Slevin here on the
96.
throw, finds that poor score. Let's just give Dylan a big advantage here on the scoreboard. Even a maximum doesn't really help Andy from this point.
And the annoying thing as far as Andy's concerned is he'll feel like all the hard work he's done to get himself back
93.
into the contest from 2-0 behind has suddenly gone a beg and is suddenly almost worthless.
134.
And Slevin picks up a couple of trebles to leave himself on 134, and he's going to have all the time he wants to get his nose in front again. Now, he ain't going to give up on the leg, Hamilton. But what he's hoping is this 180 isn't just something dead cat. He's got to hope Slevin bodges half a dozen here.
94.
But he's going to be back for double top, which he's left after 12 darts. The match has been played exclusively in 5-visit range in terms of darts acquired to win it. Hamilton, he says, needs another treble.
83.
Not to that size, though.
40.
So there's the 3-2, and this to put himself one away.
Getting shown the fifth
And he'll
leg,
be
Dylan
hoping
Slevin.
that he's weathered a bit of a storm there. 14 darts off the back of the
Six
15
leg
and the
Andy to
13 he's
first.
already had
Game
in this
on.
contest. Slevin 3-2 to the good, and now one away from winning this opening match of the night.
$140.
However, we know one thing about Andy. He is going to ask the questions all the way to the line.
100.
when you think of the key characteristics of players, that would be on your top 3 for Andy Hamilton. And you can think of so many examples over the years, can't you, of where
100.
he's battled out a result, he's turned the game around. I mean, one of the most famous turnarounds came from Andy Hamilton. The World Match Play.
125.
You remember that one, Henry, or am I...
Against Simon Whitlock, 2011.
Correct. Didn't know if you was too young for that one or not.
I was still in primary school, but I do remember it. I would have been 10 years
79.
old at that time.
$100.
And it looks like maybe not the kind of mad dash comeback that he made in that game against the Wizard, but again, with his back against the wall, he's forcing the issue of his opponent.
93.
Picking off a treble with the last to leave himself on a 2-darter. 89 left after 12. Should get a dart and get a poke at least at the bull to take us all the way to a last leg decider.
55. Andy O'Carr,
Slip for the last there
89.
from Slevin. $20 leaves the bull. Oh, he's chased the treble, paid the price.
34.
Well, this is a bit of a bonus shot here for Slevin.
21.
Whether he thought he was going to get it or not, he knows he's got the throw in the last leg as well. So a bonus chance to get the job done here. Treble 17 required. Would have given him a dart. The bullseye unable to
42.
find.
Andy O'Carr,
Sloppy end to this leg
55.
for Slevin.
And so Hamilton to take us the distance. Double top.
Game show on the 6th
And we're
leg.
going
Andy
all the way.
Hamilton.
Hamilton pins the tops into the top corner.
So the final leg, Dylan.
And the first game of the
on.
night is going to have a crescendo leg. Well, that's the first
44.
leg in this contest to go beyond 5 visits. 15, 13, 15, 14, 14, 17. Averages, Dylan Slevin, 94.38.
58.
Andy Hamilton, 92.15. Double success, Slevin 3 from 5. Hamilton 3 from 3, 100%. And a high checkout of 102 in there.
60.
As we approach the quarter of an hour mark in this contest. Interesting, having a look at the scoring power pack. Slevin's had 12-1 treble scores, but Hamilton with his second 180 of the contest may have swung this last leg decider in his favour.
And of all those stats you've just read out,
60.
Henry, the one that really stands out for me is the doubling percentage of Andy Hamilton, 100%. And at the moment, time is on his side that he may get a few opportunities.
I could have told you that.
He told us everything else.
41.
Those numbers do not make good reading for Dylan Slevin. They say get your scoring boots and get them on now.
Well, those are the scoring boots. And a max is what he needed to leave himself a finish. He's given himself a bit of hope. But how big a hole can Hamilton put in the 2-2-2?
$96.
Big fine with the
Dylan
last,
O'Carr,
but Slevin
157.
with the first opportunity to win this match. Big players sometimes need to rely on big moments. Slevin unable to get the 157.
99.
Can
Andy O'Carr,
Hamilton duly
126.
oblige with the 126. Should get a dart at the bull from here. Is going to get a dart at the bull.
101.
And he wasn't too far away from getting.
Dylan O'Carr, 58.
That would have felt good leaving the hand. But Slevin returning for 58 to win it. 2 darts, a double top. 2 tens. Clips the
38.
wire.
Andy O'Carr, 25.
If those stats mean anything, Andy Hamilton's about to win this match.
To the outer ring, he hasn't missed here yet. And he's
show
not
of the
going to miss
match,
at all.
Andy
The one
Hamilton.
dart he'd miss at a double in this game would be at the bull. But importantly for Andy Hamilton, he's on the ball for the night. He moves on to 6 points alongside Neil Duff and James Buckby. And for Dylan Slevin, even at this early stage, he has got work to do. So we're going to see the top two in action after the break. James Buckby and Neil Duff will be our next game here on Pluto TV. Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where before the break, Andy Hamilton got the better of Dylan Slevin by 4 legs to 3 to kick the night's action off in this Group B. Next up for us, we've got James Buckby and Neil Duff, the top two going head-to-head. James Buckby, the 21-year-old from the luxurious destination of Ashby de la Zouche. Up against Neil Duff, the 53-year-old from Winterthur in Switzerland, representing Northern Ireland with distinction, 5-time weekly winner. Although I have been told by the director in my ear, so James, you can sort this out, not me. But apparently I've been told that Ashby de la Zouche is not as luxurious as I'm making it out to be. I'm not on the Ashby de la Zouche tourist board. I'll be honest, I don't think there is an Ashby de la Zouche tourist board. But I'm sure that somebody from Ashby de la Zouche will get in touch with us tonight. We're at MSS Darts across our social media feeds. If you live in Ashby de la
60.
Zouche, please do tell us what the highlights of living in Ashby de la Zouche are. Well, it does have a Premier Inn at least.
85.
But anyway, Ashby de la Zouche's probably best dart player, James Buckby, is in action against Neil Duff. Both players
115.
finishing night 1 with 6 points on the board apiece. 3 wins out of 4. For James, he got off to an ultra lightning quick start. It was a
60.
very productive start. Would be disappointed he didn't complete the card. Lost this game last night late on. As for Neil Duff, we know how
100.
experienced a campaigner he is, and he will be looking to try and make it through to yet another finals night. And darts like that is going to aid his cause.
One of them 40.
Well, Buckby off to a quick start here, leaving himself on 86 after just a dozen.
One of them
Feels
40.
like tonight everybody's really
Danger car,
turned on
86.
the ante in this Group B. And if this double 16 don't go,
70.
Buckby's in a bit of
36.
trouble because Duff left himself on a double after a dozen. And now he's looking at double 16.
20.
But neither that or 8 can be
Danger car,
found.
16. Getting shot the first leg, James Buckby.
That is why I gave
Second
the
leg, Neil
answer of
through first.
composure
Game on.
as being the key attribute, the thing that really stood out for James Buckby. Didn't panic, didn't get overly excited, just kept
60.
things the same. And if you get things the same again this evening, he'll be through to Saturday night. So we know his roommate was
45.
very surprised to be getting himself through. He said he just wanted to win a game. James Buckby very much the same. There could be the 2 players
95.
that get through to Saturday night at the biggest surprise to themselves.
The question I want to know is if Kieran hasn't got a hotel room tomorrow night,
100.
that is probably then under the assumption that James hasn't got a hotel room tomorrow night.
I'm guessing you mean the answer you want to know rather than the question.
Yes.
60.
Well, I can't imagine that James has got the room and told Kieran he wasn't allowed to stay there tomorrow. So on that assumption,
99.
I would say you are correct. But it is just an assumption.
$60.
And maybe the Ashby de la Zouche Wikipedia page will be adding another notable person to it. Should James Buckby get himself
47.
through to Saturday night. Maybe if he wins Champions Week, he'll definitely be on there. No one's really been added to it for a while, though. So looking at 1983, I believe, the last added person.
41.
What qualifies you to be a notable person from Ashby de la Zouche?
There was a crime
54.
and fiction author. Lived in the area in the 1970s and the 80s. A video game music composer. An IT consultant.
43. Change your car, 156.
Is that the basis of being famous in Ashby de la Zouche? Just telling people to turn the computer
85.
off and
The
on
other car,
again.
142.
142 for Duff. Not to be it, so Buckby back for 71
94.
to break the
James
throw and
Car,
open up a
71.
2-0 lead. Double 16. Oh,
39.
kisses the
The other
wire.
car, 48.
And so Duff back to level this game up at 1-1. Well, there's the 32 out the way. Be happy with the clean target of double 4, unable to get.
44.
So Buckby returns,
Change your
looking
car,
at double
32.
16 to double his lead.
Getting shot on the
2-0
second leg,
to James Buckby. Now, before we're going to diss the art of
Third
being
leg,
a,
James, you're through
was it
first.
IT
Game on.
consultant?
Yes, notable people.
Who was that notable IT consultant?
James Martin.
100.
Not even the most famous person called James Martin. Isn't he the
46.
TV chef on a Saturday morning, James Martin?
He's an IT consultant.
134.
Do we know any more about his IT consultancy?
I mean, no. Just what it says on the screen. How far do you think I've researched this?
135.
Is anything else? What's famous about Ashby de la Zouch? Is there any tourist hotspots?
Just churches
100.
by the looks of it. But James Buckby could put it on the map.
So no wonder he feels at home here then, if Ashby de la Zouch is just full of churches and he's performing one in a church.
140.
See, this was
James
all
Carr,
worth it.
167.
167. 6 them here.
$127.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful darts from James Buckby. Getting stronger as this game goes on. Really showing some class here.
140.
It's a classy
James
operator
Carr,
against the
40.
man that I certainly thought would be the favourite to go and win this group. But this could be putting a big dent
He's
into
on the
things
third
here
leg,
for the
James
Duff man.
Buckby.
Well, he's kind of
4-0
exacting
to
here,
reverse,
James
game
Buckby, on Neil Duff, what happened to him by the former world champion yesterday. Duff won this game 4-1 last night,
140.
averaging 92.5, 4 for 10 in terms of the finishing.
40.
And there just doesn't seem to be any phasing James, even when it looks like potentially he might
140.
find himself up against the wall. He might find himself in a tricky situation. He doesn't look like he's ever rattled.
38.
How can you be rattled when everything's a gain and everything's a bonus? He didn't even think
100.
he'd be here. Now he's potentially a leg away from pretty much being there.
41.
By there,
Neil
I mean
Carr,
Saturday night, of
121.
course.
25 first. Relevant if he takes that here,
65.
because he's going to have plenty of time, and I think there will be a semi-expectation for James Buckby that this leg's going to be over and he'll have to
84.
serve
Neil
it
Carr,
out in the
56.
next. He's missed a big number there. He's slowly crawling towards the line
Inch
in
on
this
the
leg,
fourth
but he
leg,
only
Neil
needed the one dart to double top to win it, and so the gap
Fifth leg
reduced
change to
back
throw
down
first.
to
Game on.
3-1.
It's a battler. He's a scrapper. And he'll try and stay in this as long as he can, will Neil Duff, but he's going to need
96.
2 breaks. That's the hard bit. And Buckby has watched darts enough to
100.
know that all he needs to do is just keep popping in that treble, find one treble a throw. It's going to cause Neil Duff to have
60.
to go out with 100 average. But again, we talked about this a lot last night, that lack of a switch. I think that's something he's going to have to work on. If
139.
he's going to hit the next level, he's going to have to start working on this sort of advanced counting.
60.
Well, him and Kieran Ford can create Calculator Club, because it's fair to say that Kieran's mathematics left 1 or 2
92.
questions to be desired. Not quite to the level of Kelvin O'Keefe, mind.
140. Neil Carr, 170.
He's not been here for a year and still trying to work out what he left.
82. James Carr, 145.
Well, this would be some way to wrap it up. If he doesn't wrap it up here, he can suddenly get it boiled once again, because Duff left himself an
105.
88.
Neil Carr, 88.
And there's an opportunity to bring it back to 3-2. Joe 17, good recovery of the second. Double 16.
72.
Doesn't go, and with it,
James
that
Carr,
should be the
40.
match. It's double top for James Buckby to wrap up a 4-1 win, and
He's
wrap
on the
up a
match, James
4-1 win he
Buckby.
does. And that puts him on to 8 points. And that puts him also closer towards qualification through to Saturday night. That wasn't the best performance we've seen for James Buckby, but it was a positive enough start. He did all the right things when it mattered. As you can see, Duff lost the game 4-1 despite having an average 10 points superior to that of his opponent. But coming up next, we're going to see Andy Hamilton take on Fallon Sherrock. Game 3 of the night here at the live lounge reports of his a meeting between Andy Hamilton and Fallon Sherrock. Before the break, James Buckby got his campaign underway with a 4-1 win over Neil Duff. That moved him on to 8 points in the group and to within a victory of qualification through to tomorrow night's final. So Hamilton and Sherrock will get us to the end of the first cycle of games on this Friday night. Hamilton, the 58-year-old from Stoke-on-Trent. We've already seen him get the better of Dylan Slevin in the last leg to side a 4-3 earlier on tonight. As to Fallon Sherrock, the last player we're yet to see this evening, the 31-year-old now from Milton Keynes, won Women's Week back in January and looking to pick up a few wins, pick up a bit of course. She knows realistically she's going to have to win all four. She's going to stand a chance of qualifying through to tomorrow evening's final. But it's all about getting herself in the best possible form with
First
a big
leg,
few
Andy,
months
do
ahead. The
first.
final few furlongs in the race to qualify through to the Women's World Match Play, which will take place at the infamous Winter Gardens in Blackpool. That'll take place on the Sunday afternoon of the final of the Men's World Match Play. And of course, looking to win that title for the second time. As for Andy Hamilton, there was a lot there, Matt, I think, to like about his opening display against Dylan Slevin. High quality game, decent enough average,
95.
but more than anything else, it was the finishing and the timing of the finishing which stood out in that game.
Yeah, he played well, didn't he? He was up against it from the off, Dylan Slevin serving it up to him. Andy Hamilton sticking in, taking his chances. Be looking to do a little bit more of the same. Tough night this, though, for Fallon Sherrock. Didn't really have much go her own way last
100.
night, and I keep saying that one night doesn't define a season, but however, it does make it a little bit tricky, doesn't it, when you come into night two and you feel like you've not really got any sort of opportunity of qualifying, and that comes down to the legs difference. But we have seen this before. Not very often.
140.
But my mind does go to David Pallett, all the way back in the days of Southampton.
58.
Ah, ye oldie livey leaguey.
$60. $100. And your car 143.
So Hamilton looking at 143 to take out the opening leg. Can't be done now.
$93. Following the car 148. $80.
Well, that was a plaguing concern
And
last
your
night
car
for Sherrock.
50.
Those bounce outs, particularly those that were knitted closely to the treble. And so Hamilton here, looking at 50 to take out the opening leg. Double 16 is
Shot the
there,
first leg,
and
Andy
Hamilton is on the board. And really rallying at the beginning of this Friday night.
Game on.
He knew playing two of the first three, he had to get off to a quick start, and he may well be doing exactly that.
$81.
Sort of a nice position to be in when you're in the sort of stage of the career that Andy Hamilton is.
119.
When you know you can win, but it doesn't dictate your life.
Well, it's all just a bonus, really, to a certain extent for Andy.
57.
And he said to me, we did an extended interview yesterday, which you'll be able to see on YouTube before too long. And he was speaking about how he still has a design. He still thinks he's got unfinished business of the game. He still thinks there's
81.
something big out there for him to win, something tangible for him to still achieve. But at the same time, he doesn't need to chase like he has done for so many years. His time at the top level, i.e. the professional
140.
circuit, that's been and gone. He's enjoyed what he's done. But now he wants to be one of the best at this level. He wants to maybe hand out a little bit of tutelage as well to maybe a couple of younger players. I know he struck up a real friendship with Jurgen van der Velde in recent months. And I think he's just in this position as he piles in a max where he wants to play at the highest level. But as you mentioned, just enjoy having the shackles off. Enjoy the twilight
99.
years.
And
We saw that, didn't we, in his
21.
approach to darts this year. He went to Q School for a day just to give him those options, just to allow him the opportunity, should he want to go play Challenge Tour events. Keep all the doors open and the options open here for the bullseye for Andy Hamilton. He finds it.
Second leg, Andy Hamilton.
We're talking about Andy Hamilton potentially on the wind down.
Third leg, Andy
Absolutely
to
not.
reverse.
He's still got the quality.
Well, he had the 102 in the previous game, and he can add the 1-2-1 to the mix here.
Finishing superb, isn't it, from Andy Hamilton? Going into that final leg, he was 3 from 3. Ended up 4 from 5 on the doubles
37.
and 2 from 2 in here. 6 from 7 this evening. World class.
Which means so far he's been insurmountable. And actually he was 2-0 down against Dylan Slevin as well in that
21.
opening game. And it looked like Dylan was just beginning to run away with that tie. But he pulled out that 102 when it mattered. And then really managed to rally from that point onwards.
45. $140. $100. $100. $39.
Well, Sherrock did have an opportunity to
26.
really threaten the throw of Andy Hamilton, but that score there has allowed Hamilton back in, has allowed the Hammer the opportunity to have a real cast iron grip of this contest to move into a 3-0 lead.
Well, if there was
52.
a real standout weakness last night in the game for Fallon Sherrock, it was that, wasn't it? Straying off those 20s. The darts going left, the darts going right. And you could see the early signs when they started to wayward, it's
125.
just started to frustrate her a little bit. And that'll be that lag. That will be not from what's happening so far tonight, 'cause it's too early to get frustrated tonight. It'll be, here we go again.
And all of a sudden, the Hammer's found it again. That's a second max of the match, leaving himself on 48. And all of a sudden, this has to go. All of a sudden, this has to go. But to Fallon Sherrock's credit, the first opportunity, she's had a double in this game, and she has taken it. It's a break back, and we suddenly return to throw. And not a dart miss so far in this contest. Perfection on the outer ring. And almost a perfect start to leg 4 for the Queen of the Palace.
$81. $81.
Well, that feels important. Hamilton's third max of the game, but the way this match was going, Fallon Sherrock was just slowly but surely working her way back into it. And what happened to Hamilton in the first game could come the other way round in match 2. He trailed 2-0 against Dylan Slevin before winning. What he doesn't want is to lead 2-0 in this and let that margin of lead slip himself.
96.
It's really boiled up to be an intriguing contest. And when Hamilton raced into a 2-0 lead, that didn't really look like a distinct possibility.
60. Andy O'Carr, 144.
Another perfectly found double 12, not missed a dart and a double yet. Until there.
Fallon O'Carr, 120.
Bit of an ass though for Fallon, one of each required. 2 out of 3. 3 out of 3 for Fallon Sherrock. What a find, what a fight back. This is what she was lacking last night, wasn't it? That resilience, that resistance. You could see the frustration kicking in when the darts were going wayward. Tonight she finds an extra gear. She's doing to Andy Hamilton
100.
what Andy Hamilton did to Dylan Slevin.
And from 2-0 behind, back to 2-2. And what looked so comfortable for so long for Andy Hamilton is becoming a little bit more...
140.
A little bit more edgy. Inconsistent would probably be the giveaway of those leg by legs.
125. $81. $28.
You're the oracle of Super Series tables and knowledge and history.
Yes.
How damaging would this be to Andy Hamilton?
140.
In regards to the table, if Alan Sherrock sat at the bottom of the table on that minus legs difference, if he was the player to lose to her first or maybe even the only?
Well, it would certainly leave him vulnerable, but also put Fallon Sherrock back into play, but she's going to need an arrest to a really poor
134.
legs
Fallon
difference.
140.
The only maybe saving grace for Andy Hamilton is the fact that Slevin takes on Neil Duff next. In fact, Slevin's next two games are tricky ones in that particular regard. But we've said
92.
a fair bit, haven't we, about
Undercar 114.
players at the bottom of the table that if they're on nothing, you need to keep on nothing. Otherwise, the 2 points that you've lost against them really will feel like points lost. You've lost a lot of ground as a result. However, Hamilton looks at tops of the 114.
94.
But the
Follow
problem
the car,
he's got is the
48.
last couple of legs. These are the only opportunities he's getting. The odd pop dart at a double off the back of a big combo.
Getting shot on the
And from
fifth leg,
2-0
Fallon Sherrock.
behind, and seemingly second best,
Six leg
Fallon
to
Sherrock
throw
has
first.
found a
Game
crucial
on.
break to move 3-2 to the good, and now has the darts in her hand to get the beating of the hammer.
$96.
And then it sort of springs a question in my mind. Where does Fallon then place herself? We can only speculate and guess. We don't know what's going through her mind. We can have a look and make our own
41.
assumptions based on what we think in regards to the table, what her chances are. But you really want to know what's going through. Does Fallon still think she's in with a chance? That would be the big question for me.
I think the problem you've got is there is a
140.
lot of traffic in front. You've got Duff and Hamilton on 6, Slevin on 4, and not just have you got that as a barricade. The legs difference is a huge problem. As things stand
58.
right now, Sherrock is on minus 11. Andy Hamilton's on 0. That's 11 legs. That's a game and a half's worth of legs difference that she has to make up.
133.
Well, you say as things are right now. As things are right now, in fact, not as they was then, Fallon Sherrock is very likely to get 2 points on the board. And that's the first thing. The legs are a secondary deciding factor. You've got to get the points
100.
on the board
Follow
first
the car,
before that even becomes a
132.
conversation. And she might be about to come off the 0.
Well, Rogue Fly has just entered the building. Now, does she stay there? It wasn't too far away from finding the
92.
second bullseye. But tops left after 12 to give Sherrock a 4-2 win to kick off her night and to give her a foundation in which to build upon.
Thought you were going to say to give her a buzz.
75.
Stop
Fallon
it,
car,
you.
40.
Tops for the match.
Getting shot in the
And
match,
that,
Fallon
a
Sherrock.
13 darter. Andy Hamilton led that game by 2 legs to 0. But 4 legs in a flash for Fallon Sherrock means that she picks up her first points in this Group B. High quality contest, as you can see with the numbers there. Sherrock with an average in excess of 97, 4 from 5 in terms of the finishing. Hamilton himself averaging 94. Both players have a ton topper in there as well. But it's Sherrock who runs out a 4-2 winner. Coming up after the break, we're going to see Neil Duff take on Dylan Slevin. Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where before the break, Fan and Sherrock got the better of Andy Hamilton by 4 legs to 2. Next up, Dylan Slevin and Neil Duff go head-to-head. It's game 4 of the night here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. And 2 players looking for their first win. Dylan Slevin played well, but couldn't get the points against Andy Hamilton. Neil Duff looking to get himself up and running after defeat to James Buckby. What do you make of this one, young Matthew?
Well, Neil Duff's got a little bit more wiggle room than that of Dylan Slevin.
Looks like Neil to throw first.
You feel that this has to be a win. Fan and Sherrock could then throw a name into the hat a little bit there. Certainly to go past Dylan Slevin if he's to lose this game.
85.
I expect we're going to get quite a high quality contest here. It was a decent game when the pair met yesterday, wasn't it? Neil Duff coming away with a victory
99.
there, 4 legs to 2. Very, very similar in the averages around the 88 mark. I would not be surprised if we are breaking 90 ground here today.
100. $134. 45.
Looking at last night's winning averages,
92.
Andy Hamilton in game 5 beat Neil Duff with 111. Dylan Slevin in game 4 won with a
133.
97 against Fallon Sherrock. Other than that, every other winning average yesterday was lower than what Dylan lost with in game 1. So it could feel a little bit hard done by based on the evidence of that.
Well, that would have been the greatest 138 we would have ever seen on the live lounge stage.
46.
And so
Dylan
Slevin
Carr, 40.
looking at double top to get the break to open up a 1-0 lead. Now looking at tens and
Getting shot the
getting
first
tens.
leg, Dylan
14
Slevin.
data, 1-0.
Second leg, Dylan to throw first. Game on. $60. $66. $81. $55. $96. $135.
I think one thing I've been impressed with so far this evening from Dylan Slevin is his ability to hit the ground running. Here's Andy Hamilton, first couple of legs came flying out the traps, and he's done so
58.
here as well. Serving it up to the Duff man.
$40. $58.
Well, Dylan Slevin's starting game's a bit like a hurricane, but things got a bit smelly towards the end of his match against Hamilton in the previous.
89. Dylan Carr
Looking for a 2-0 lead in this, just like he did against the Hammer last time out. Oh, needed the 2 trebles, leave himself a double.
100.
And so Duff just the
Dylan
1
Carr
treble needed for
116.
an opportunity and a poke at top to level up at 1-1. That 1 treble he got. And the double he's got 2. And that squares things up at 1 apiece.
Third leg Neil to throw first. Game on.
And we speak so often, Matt, don't we, about timing, and that timing superb, because if he didn't find that, to all intents and purposes, he probably finds himself 2-0 down.
60.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what Neil Duff's been very good at, hasn't he?
81.
Certainly in recent times on the WDF circuit, regularly making finals, regularly picking up titles. Just such a solid operator that does it all day, which is the key to those WDF events. Very, very tricky to play, very
100.
tricky to bring out your best. Long days, long hours, big gaps. Takes a certain type of player, and Neil Duff has all those attributes.
38.
Well, he'll probably tell you in comparison to these WDF events, this is a bit of a stroll in the park.
Oh, Group B for sure. You play, you're on. You play, you're on. It's very
57.
easy to manage your day. I've been to tournaments before on the WDF circuit where you play a game and then you're not playing again for 3 hours. 3 hours.
180.
It's like that sound effect in SpongeBob, isn't it? 3 hours later.
99. Neil Carr, 43.
To go 2-1 to the good, having trailed 1-0.
Getting shot the third
14
leg Neil.
data, and Neil Duff is really beginning
Dylan
to
to throw
strut his
first. Game on.
stuff.
$140. 95. 100. 140. 125.
We talk a lot, don't we, about faces of the Super Series. And we've used the likes of Luke Littler, Andreas Harrison,
96.
Tom Sykes in
136.
recent times. There's quite a list, isn't there, of the faces of the Super Series over time. When do we
82. Neil
have to start putting Neil Duff in that category? Or, as I probably think we should be doing already, and we're kind of underrating?
I think he is already.
44.
We'll have a chat about this in the
54.
next leg, because Slevin's looking at 54 to level up at 2-2. Top to do exactly that.
Getting shot the
Top's
fourth
found
leg.
to do
Dylan
exactly that.
Slevin.
14 data back on terms to a piece. I mean,
Fifth leg Neil to throw first.
we
Game on.
do traverse some circles, don't we, Matt, outside of this building? You more than I do, admittedly. And when we speak about the Super Series, or people come up to us and talk about the
100.
Super Series, Neil Duff is one of the first names that comes up. He is a man whose name, yes, was originally wrote in legendhood at the lakeside, but you can make
46.
an argument, shall I say, that he's become as synonymous for the Super Series as he has been anything else. And that his legacy, when he walks away,
96.
whenever that's going to be, will be as filled with what he's done in this building as he has done on World Championship stages and other things.
58.
You're here, Henry, most weeks, and I know you like games.
Oh, I love a game.
I'm going to set you a little
137.
challenge.
Oh, please.
Before the end of the night, I want you to give me your ultimate Super Series dream lineup of eligible
83.
players in 2026.
How many am I allowed?
Well, how many players in the Super Series? 12 players. Like, you're not going to get 13 in, are you?
Well, I didn't know
100.
whether we were going to do like a super special week or something.
Well, I'd have said that, wouldn't I? Tell you what I will say, though. Neil Duff, a
134.
chance to regain the
68.
lead here. 68 points away. 6 starts in hand. 5 of them should be at the double.
Getting shot the
Only
fifth leg
needs the
Neil.
one. This is quality from Neil Duff. 100% on the
Sixth leg
doubling.
Dylan to throw first. Game on.
And that's the turnaround he needed. That's what was costing him before. 1 in 7 on the outer
123.
ring against James Buckby. Sorted it out. He's done something right in the practice room.
Well, 14 darters are seemingly the recipe for success in this contest.
140.
But for Dylan Slevin, he is riding a very dangerous wave. Have a look at this. 14, 18,
83.
14, 14, 14. That the leg-by-leg play in this contest. For Dylan Slevin,
100.
all of a sudden, what was a night that could have been littered with promise may well be a night which sees his back against the wall. He's already lost to Hamilton. Could be on the cusp of losing here against Neil Duff.
140.
And suddenly his match against Fallon Sherrock in Game 7 of the night feels oh so important.
57. Dylan Yakar 155.
To take this one all the way, 6 and 155. Double 19
136.
would have been for a dozen data.
$83. Dylan Yakar 19.
Two eights to make it 3-3
Getting shot
in
on
the
the
top
sixth leg,
corner.
Dylan Slevin.
And guess what? It's another 14 data.
Seventh final leg Neil to throw first. Game on.
Quality. That's the quality and the class that we expected from these two when they go head to head. So when you put two quality operators
100.
against each other, you tend to bring out the best. You can just switch off. You don't have to look for opportunities. You can just concentrate on yourself.
100.
Well, that was one in for Duff.
100.
But 1 is all he's going to get.
That's all he needs right now. Just keep hitting the 1 treble. Force Slevin to hit the
81.
2. Time now running out for Dylan Slevin.
Well, Duff knows on throw, if he could just keep
100.
tapping away with trebles just like that, he will dictate terms in this leg.
$100. $105.
I'll tell you what, full props there for Neil Duff. What a last leg this is on throw. And if he takes this out in 2, guess what? It is yet another 14
Neil
darter.
car 96.
Well, we're not going to see a 14 darter in this last leg. Neil Duff may not even win the leg because Dylan Slevin here
56.
is looking at
Dylan car
120
120.
to snatch this game from the grasp of the Duff man.
And it would hurt. It would hurt.
80.
And
Neil
that was
car
given every
40.
chance. It just kissed above the top wire. And so Duff returning for the target his opponent's just missed to win the match. And he's only got 1 left. He's only got 1 left. Resets. Recalibrates.
20.
But unable
Dylan car
to fire
40.
home. And so Slevin returning for double top to win this game for free. This is a seismic moment in the context of the group. Double 10, 1 left.
Getting shown the match,
And that
Dylan
double
Slevin.
10 is fouled. Neil Duff missed a few opportunities to win that one. And Dylan Slevin picks his pocket. A 4-3 result either side of the scoreline margin for Slevin to kick off his night. And that was how he got the better of Neil Duff there. He moves on to 6. 3 players on 6. Coming up after the break, it's Fallon Sherrock who takes on James Buckby, who is through with victory in this game. So welcome back. We're into the 5th game of the night, the halfway point of the evening session. It is a meeting between Fallon Sherrock and James Buckby before the break. We saw Dylan Slevin get the better of Neil Duff by 4 legs to 3. It was a highly entertaining contest, but Slevin over the line on 6 points alongside a couple of others. Up to second in the table, Duff down to third, Hamilton in fourth. And James Buckby with a win in this game against the Queen of the Palace will qualify through to tomorrow night's final.
First leg, Fallon to throw first.
And you have to say,
Game
Matt,
on.
he'd be good value for his place in the finals if he was to make it through.
Well, he's earned it, hasn't he? He's earned it with quality, he's earned it with the composure, he's earned it with the
100.
class of which he has been showing throughout the evening. Just needs a little bit more.
96.
What if Kieran stayed awake this evening to watch?
Well, if you are Kieran, hope you're well, pal.
60.
And we shall see you tomorrow night. To be fair, I actually spent a little bit of
51.
time with James before the session got underway this evening.
Lucky guy.
Me, Jared Colt, who's our spotter tonight, so
140.
and Scott Mitchell, who was rather disappointed after what happened earlier on. We went to a
140.
local food establishment and we bumped into James Buckby and Kieran Ford there.
140.
And I used to spend a little bit of time with James. Really, really nice chap, have to say. His pre-match prep, chicken goujons.
60. Follow the car, 61.
It's got all the protein it needs as Sherrock looks at double 18. 2 9s.
Game show
And
the
it
first leg,
goes, and the
Fallon
Queen of the
Sherrock.
Palace 1 up. But he's got this real
Second leg, James to
laissez-faire
throw first.
attitude
Game on.
towards life. And I think the one thing that stood out more than anything is he had this real brimming enthusiasm for everything. He wanted to know every
86.
single intricate detail. Like, he wanted to know how the commentary worked here at the Super Series, for example. He was so fixated as to everything that happens here at the live lounge. It's quite a refreshing attitude, actually.
135.
Either that or he just fancied taking your job.
I'll be honest, it's not that difficult.
60.
Can you shout? Can you say your R's incorrectly? You're hired as my replacement.
$93. $99.
As a matter of fact, in James's first match, we were looking at famous people from Ashby de la Zouch. Now, we also looked
79.
up famous landmarks from Ashby de la Zouch. And it turns out the most famous landmark is the A511 Ashby bypass. The most famous part of the town of Ashby de la Zouch is literally the exit.
Or the entrance.
98.
Tomato, tomato, let's call the whole thing off. Anyway, Sherrock with a much better response tonight in
100.
comparison to what we saw
Follow the
yesterday.
car,
Average 8,
96.
97 in her opener. Has left herself on 96 after 12 here and could be 2-0 up in the blink of an eye.
That's an inviting marker, that, for the way fans show.
61.
Start
James
sitting
Buchanan,
the
96.
boards. Didn't expect that from Fallon Sherrock. Didn't expect this from James. He
56.
did this yesterday. He
Follow the
loves
car,
the double-double.
35.
Not getting the application on this occasion.
Double 16 to double the lead.
Game
Sherrock
show
2
the
up.
second leg, Fallon
In
Sherrock.
full control. What point do we say
Third leg,
Fallon
Fallon
Sherrock
through
is
first.
back in contention to
Game on.
possibly qualify through to tomorrow night?
I still feel it's a little bit out of her hands because the legs difference. I think it depends on what happens with other games. And that means that
95.
Dylan Slevin and James Buckby need to keep winning. Other than when they play Fallon, of course, if we're looking at it from Fallon's
95.
perspective. And then you go back to what we were saying last night. Just win a game.
60.
Keep yourself in the mix. That's all you need to do on night one. Keeps it firmly in your hands. It'd be very
55.
disappointing, wouldn't it, for Fallon Sherrock if she continues to play the way she has tonight. 97 average in a 4-2 victory over Andy Hamilton. Running again over the 90 here against James Buckby.
58.
Imagine coming today, winning all 4 games, averaging in the mid-90s, and you end up being eliminated.
100. $100. $42.
Well, it has to be said, this is a performance a bit off the pace here from James. Sherrock's pretty much carried on
60.
from her first match, a 4-2 win over Andy Hamilton. What was a real corker of a contest, leaving herself on 1-2-8 to go 3-0 to the good. And one thing we're seeing here from James, which we didn't see last night, is a few little drifters going wide of targets.
45. Follow the car, 128.
And that'll be a disappointment for James as Sherrock looks at another treble, gets it, double 10 for the 1-2-8 and a 3-0 lead. It would have been a
118.
second finish in excess of 120 tonight.
Can get a little bit tricky, though, just coming inside on the double 10 there.
94. Follow the car, 10.
I don't think I've ever spoke to a dart player that enjoys throwing at double 5. Although if I asked Fallon right now, she would probably say she enjoys throwing at double 5.
First. Game on.
So maybe it's timing that's the issue with that question.
She is beginning to make a move. 3-0.
40. $60.
Yet to see a 180 in this contest, but other than that, it's been a thoroughly enjoyable affair.
140.
Had a fair few, though, this evening, haven't we?
Been a good night.
9 maximum so far. Andy Hamilton's hit 5 of them.
100.
Indeed he has, and he's not in a qualified place as of yet. Are you here tomorrow night?
I am.
60.
You can be here tomorrow night as well. Scan that QR code, takes you over to Darts World Store, the brand new name for dartshop.tv.
60.
Fancy little upgrade for 2026. Give that a little bit of a
57.
whirl and you can be here tomorrow night or any given Saturday.
$134.
If you're lucky, you might get a signed autograph from Matthew Edgar. Don't know what will happen if you're
41.
unlucky.
Follow the car, 147.
Just don't forget your cash.
60.
You're not Neil Warnock, are you, with the bum bag filled with autograph cards?
133. Follow the car, 87.
Interesting choice there to deliberately leave the double 15. Although I think he's just realised now, looking at his face, that maybe he didn't want to leave the
53.
double 15.
Change your car, 30.
And it is going to matter because Sherrock has missed the ball for the match. He's only had one opportunity at the outer ring in this game. James Buckby.
Getting shot on the fourth leg, James Buckby.
And he gets himself on the board, a shake of the head. The first real negative sign that we've seen from him over the course of the last couple of days.
That's because, I believe, the missed shot in the last play. Well, it's not a missed shot, but the missed count.
135.
That's something he's got to sort out. I've picked up on this probably about 9 times now, of little
60.
mathematical errors that he's got wrong. This is simple. Just sit and watch it back, or sit and watch it back with an analyst, a coach, a friend, someone who's got experience of the
93.
game at that next level that could point out all these little errors that he is making, because he's clearly got talent. But talent only takes you so far. This is a
97.
game of tiny margins, and the higher up you go up the world rankings and the higher up you go within the system, the difference between players, we are talking at times not even a full
58.
percent. We are talking margins of a percent. And getting the maths right, giving yourself the best opportunity on the scoreboard
140.
can give you such an advantage.
You don't mind mistakes, but it's unforced errors, which James Buckby, to be fair, in this group hasn't really been let down with. But further down the line, there's going to be a point where it's going to come back to bite him, and badly.
177.
Absolutely. Throw at the wrong target and you might give your opponent an extra 3 darts, which is ironic because that is what Fallon Sherrock's got now. 3 darts for the match.
58.
Now, if Fallon Sherrock wins this
Car
game, as she
38.
should do from here, there's still a possibility that every single player could finish on 8 points in the group. We could have a bonkers end
Getting shot
as
on
the
match,
Queen of the
Fallon Sherrock.
Palace really rallies on this Friday night. 2 wins and 2. The latest a 4-1 success against James Buckby, for whom the champagne in terms of qualification is very much on ice. Coming up next, Andy Hamilton takes on Neil Duff. Well, halfway through the night's action here at the live lounge in Portsmouth, before the break, Fallon Sherrock made it 2 wins from 2 with a 4-1 win over James Buckby. So this is how the table looks at the halfway point of the night. James still top of the table on 8 points. Dylan Slevin, Neil Duff and Andy Hamilton all on 6, whilst Fallon Sherrock at the bottom of the pile with just 4 points to her name. Into the second half of the evening's action, and it is Andy Hamilton against Neil Duff, and this a game of the utmost importance, because for the Duff man and the Hammer, the winner will move on to 8 points level with James Buckby at the top of the table. If Neil Duff wins this game by a 4-0 scoreline, he'd actually head to the summit of the Group B standings. And after what he in his first game, he lost 4-1 to James Buckby. He lost 4-3 to Dylan Slevin. He needs to get himself back on the horse again, does the Duff man. It was a better performance in his second match, has to be said. He's kind of averaging around 90 for the night. Is the Northern Irishman. However, yes, he'll be happy enough for the performances, but now it's all about getting results. Can he, Matthew Edgar?
85.
Well, we're not going to have to wait long to find out. I mean, I keep referring to you, Henry, as the oracle of Super Series knowledge. That possibility of all players ending at 8 points, that's never happened before, has it? I can't remember that.
Nope.
So we are on
85.
a little bit of Super Series history potentially this evening. And do you know what? If he was going to put a list of players together that could make that happen, it looks something very similar to this, where the levels are very, very similar between all the players this evening.
Well, Andy Hamilton made history by playing in the first 9-dart shootout here.
76.
And I don't think any of these players want to be in a scenario where they're putting a group on 8 points, unless your name is Fallon Sherrock,
60.
where she'll just want all the carnage possible.
Well, it's kind of her only route through, isn't it? She needs carnage. The darting Harley Quinn.
45. $140.
140 for Duff, leads himself on 104 after 12 to get the break in the opening leg.
$58. Neil the car, 104.
So 104 for Duff to get himself up and running. Double top.
And
Duff is up and running. 104 hitting Hamilton where it
Second
hurts.
leg, Neil to throw first. Game on. $140. $58. $100. $135. $100.
Well, we're heading towards the meat of this group. Heading towards the important part of this Group B.
Neil Duff hasn't done too
41.
much wrong this
The other
evening,
car
has he? His
61.
performances have been there in regards to the levels and the numbers he's been posting. He's just been doing the wrong things at the wrong times.
65.
But he left the stage a little bit frustrated, didn't he, after missing match starts against Dylan Slevin. And he's come up here with that steely aggression back in his game once again.
Well, when we see Neil Duff lose a couple of games like he has done early on the night,
59.
more
Neil
often
Duff,
than not,
96.
somebody tends to cop it from him. And it looks like Andy Hamilton is the man who's on the receiving end.
56.
We'll return for tops to double his lead to 2-0. And remember, this was the game where Andy Hamilton averaged 111. High quality affair. 4-0. 111.33,
31.
2 180s,
New car,
4 from
40.
6 on the doubles. In fact, Hamilton hit a 104 against Duff. Duff's hit him back with that. And now looking to hit him with a 2-0 lead. Doesn't have to go for it if he doesn't want to. Decides to bust the score.
No score.
But for context, Andy Hamilton is now averaging 44 points lower than what he did yesterday in this very fixture.
$99. Near the car, 40.
So double top for Duff. Now down for double 10.
Getting shot on the
Double
second
10
leg,
is
Neil
found,
Duff.
and Neil Duff has a 2-0 lead.
Third leg, Andy to throw first. Game on. $62. $140. $60. $140. $96.
Just feels like he's trying to hang on at the minute, doesn't it, Andy Hamilton? Neil Duff just starting to open up a gap. That's a
140.
hat trick of 140s for the Duff man.
Who is beginning to run riot here. And 2-1 left after 9 to get the double break and to
96. Near the car,
open up a
81.
3-0 lead in this game. And 6 from this point to do exactly that.
41.
And he is going to leave himself on double top after just a dozen darts to go 3-0 to the good and to put himself one away and to get himself on the board for the evening.
And this irritates you as well when you play like Andy Hamilton. You start
137,
finding
near
when
the
you
car,
feel the
40.
leg has already gone. Why couldn't I have
Getting
found
shot on
that
the third leg,
throw
Neil Duff.
earlier?
And in
4
fact,
Neil to
this
throw
result
first. Game on.
keeps afloat the possibility of every player finishing on 8 points in the group. Incredibly.
26.
Well, ironic, wasn't it? A 13 darter there from Neil Duff, followed with 26.
What do they say down the local? Back to normal.
39.
26 is one of those scores, isn't it? It's got different names depending where you come from.
100.
Very rarely hear people have the same expressions for it.
96.
Now, Fallon Sherrock has before got to 8 points in the group and not qualified. That was in a previous group,
130.
Series 5, Week 8. A week which Robert Thornton would top the Group B with 12 points to his name. Steve West and Danny Lawby both had 10 points to their name. And Fallon Sherrock would be on 8. And that was because
83.
we had a back marker, Stefan Schroeder, who lost every game and picked up a grand total of 10 legs.
100.
Monster score required here from Andy Hamilton. Needs another treble just to get down to a finish. Finds
140.
quality there for the hammer.
The other car, 145.
It's him on par here with the Duff man. This could be it.
85. And your car, 143.
So 143 for Hamilton. Hail Mary time doesn't get this. It's probably curtains, probably game over. And so Neil Duff looks at 60 to get his first win of the night, to get himself on the board and to really put himself back into play. Won 3 out of 4 last night. I think he needs a couple of wins this evening to qualify through. And there is the first of them with a much improved display to get the better of Andy Hamilton by 4 legs to 0. Average just over the 91 mark. 4 from 8 on the doubles. That 104 really did kickstart things for the Duff man. Coming up next, Fallon Sherrock up against Dylan Slevin.
game.
Good decision, Terence.
Nearly part of the session. And he's
Being shown the
doing
first
the
race comes
same
on.
today.
Rhythm to this game. Now just a little talk to himself there. Beautiful first. Stunning second. And a sublime
Guys,
136 from
John
Carl Coleman.
Burnley.
Beautiful.
Interesting. Just new names coming through and looking at the talent, and as we see Dustin Straver, with the talent.
Being shown the
Double 8.
Does that continue? Tops.
Go!
It does continue.
Has to go.
Well, 18. Yeah, what a shot.
Wanting to wave his wand.
Well, there to be some way to win it. The bullseye. In a 138. Yes, he is. Gary Stone's got a bit of vigour about him today. Second double 16. Conor Heenahan. That is a special finish.
20 left for Jack Tweddle.
game shot.
Jack Tweddle is the ADC Global Champion.
Jack Tweddle.
So this is what we got to look forward to next week then at the live lounge in Portsmouth. Nathan Potter, the Pinner Potter, is in Group A alongside Graham Usher, Lee Evans, Dustin Strava, Dylan Dowling and Jack Tweddle, the reigning ADC Global Champion. Group B, Conor Heenahan, the 9 Dart Man, alongside Jack Aldridge and Gary Stone. Carl Coleman, Tom Conwell and Terry Nash complete the week's lineup. I'm going to be in commentary for Group A alongside the Players Champion of 2010, Paul Nicholson, on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. Then we will have Niall McCorn back with us on Thursday and Friday, guiding you through the action. He's going to be in the company of Scott Mitchell and Keegan Brown for that. I'll then join Keegan for the final couple of sessions of the week on Friday night and Saturday evening. So that's your broadcast team confirmed for next week, and that's your players confirmed for next week. And this to take us one step closer towards confirmation as to who makes it
First leg
through
Fallon did through
to
first.
tomorrow night. And
Game
then
on.
Dylan Slevin and Fallon Sherrock going head to head. For Fallon, 2 wins out of 2. It's certainly been night and day, her performances yesterday, in comparison to what we've seen so
81.
far on this Friday night. Kicked off with an average of 97.03 and a 4-2 win
100.
over Andy Hamilton. And then beat James Buckby by 4 legs to 1, averaging 88.25 and
137.
4th and 10 in terms of the doubling. In terms of Dylan Slevin, he's played some decent stuff tonight. He's averaged over 90 in
137.
both of his games to get himself out the gate. But that game against Andy Hamilton, he was 2-0 up, lost it 4-3, but had to ride on his coattails a little bit against Neil
80.
Duff in his second game.
$63. $39.
So we're getting some confirmation here that if Dylan Slevin wins a leg in this match against Fallon Sherrock, that will be
57.
good
Fallon
enough
Carr, 164.
to qualify Neil Duff into tomorrow night's final. Sherrock here 164. Slight apologies that we
60.
haven't got the full
Dylan
broadcast
Carr,
card, so we're going to have to
144.
watch from the side on angle for now. I hope to rectify that in a few moments' time.
I mean, to be honest, I quite like this angle.
Following the
Should we
car,
just stick with it?
104.
Yeah, it's different, isn't it?
$21.
So Slevin here
car,
looking at
86.
86. 82 left. Bull or treble 14? Decide to persevere with the bullseye unable to get.
30.
So
Following the car,
Sherrock
83.
here looking at 83. Missed on the big number.
43.
So Slevin,
Following the car, 56.
couple of darts. A double top for the break. Double 10.
Getting shot the first
And it
leg,
goes.
Dylan
Slevin breaks and leads 1-0. And that is the leg
Second
that
leg, Dylan
secures
is
Neil
reversed.
Duff's
Game
passage through to tomorrow night's final.
on. 60.
So that's 4 of the 6 confirmed. 2 more places to go, and we've
100.
only got 3 matches still after this game, so time is a-ticking.
81. $100. 59. 57. 140.
Slevin leaving 1-6-1 to
140.
open up a 2-0 lead in this contest. Sherrock with that 140's left himself on 104. Slevin, Bull for the 161. Not quite there.
131. Following the car, 104.
We've had a good couple of tumblers checkouts so far this evening. Alan Sherrock looking to add another.
88. Following the car, 30.
Double 15 for Slevin to lead this game by
Game shot on the
2
second leg,
legs
Slevin.
to 0.
Third leg Fallon to through first. Game on. $100. 81. 57. 78.
Fallon's dug deep tonight, hasn't she? She's brought herself back into contention, but you feel every time she loses a leg, it's so damaging
51.
due to the fact she came into this evening on a -12 difference. It's more than just getting points for Fallon, isn't it? She's going to need the legs, and losing to Dylan Slevin here
100.
would eliminate her from proceedings.
It would be, and it would mean that we kind of have a closer picture, because Andy Hamilton would be the player who would be up against the 8 ball.
99.
He's got one more game left to play. In fact, I'm just trying to work some things out here, Matt. I think Dylan Slevin
100.
with a 4-0 win, I think might well be through, because Hamilton can only get to -1
140.
in
Then
terms
we
of
go
legs difference
142.
if he won his last game 4-0. Dylan Slevin in that particular position wouldn't be able to
90.
get anywhere.
On
I
the
think the
car,
Wolves are really
54.
beginning to close in on Andy here a little bit. Buckby's still got 2 more games, so he's still actually in the more perilous position.
No score. Dylan Lucar, 52.
Sherrock there busts the score incredibly by hitting the treble 19.
Well, it was 2 misstarts, really.
Getting shown the third leg, Dylan Slevin.
Bit of a mess there for Fallon Sherrock, offering Dylan Slevin the opportunity.
Dylan
And he
to third
gobbles it
first.
up. He says, thank
Game
you
on.
very much. He's a leg away from strengthening his position. Taking Fallon out the equation. Things are unravelling very quickly at both ends of the table.
60. $41. $59.
He's getting closer, and there was a point early on tonight when he lost 4-3 in the opening game to Andy Hamilton that
66.
well, Slevin's on 8 points
100.
plus 5 as things stand. I make it that if he wins 4-0, he'll be as good as through. In fact, I think if he wins 4-1,
57.
he'll be as good as through, because if he wins by this margin, he'll be on plus 5 as things stand. The worst he can be on then is plus 1 leg's difference. The best that Andy
100.
Hamilton can get to is 8 points minus 1 leg's difference.
$100.
And the man in my ear, wise or not wise, I'll leave it to your interpretation, is telling me that that is correct.
100.
I've been given the confirmation from our producer Robbie that if
100.
this 82
Dylan
goes,
Lucar, 82.
Dylan Slevin is into tomorrow night. He's going to get a qualification dart here.
42.
And that
Fallon Lucar,
qualification dart at double top has
137.
gone a begging. Sherrock here, 137. This would be an act of darting defiance. Oh,
Game
Fallon
shot
Sherrock,
the
that's
Fallon
sublime.
Sherrock.
Back against the wall. Your hopes are lying on taking out that shot, and she does exactly
Referee
that.
Fallon
The
to throw first.
137
Game on.
to deny Slevin, who's had qualification darts now.
$58. $100. $134. $100. $121. $40. $180. $121. Fallon Lucar, 8.
So, double 4 to bring it back to 3-2. Madhouse.
6.
Unable to get. Now
Dylan
this
Lucar,
qualification point
140.
again for Slevin. Not to be, so Sherrock looks at the Madhouse.
50. Fallon Lucar, 2. No score. Dylan Lucar, 90.
Well, for Fallon, it was a brave effort the first couple of games, but is this curtains for her? Oh, Dylan Slevin with a cardinal sin. Chase the treble. I mean, the angle was awkward anyway to try and
40.
chase the treble.
Fallon Lucar, 2. Getting shown the fifth leg.
And he's been punished. Sherrock's still in at 3-2.
Sixth leg Dylan to throw first. Game on.
Throwing to go through again.
100.
Certainly drawing this out is Dylan Slevin. What looked so routine early on is beginning to
100.
look a little bit more like hard work.
95.
3-0 up, you would have put your house on Dylan Slevin to qualify through. But I'm not sure you'd be looking to remortgage now.
46.
It's not always that easy when qualification's staring you in the face.
126.
Slightly puzzled.
57.
I'm not sure if Dylan's a little bit puzzled there. Maybe he worked that one out slightly wrong, thinking he was leaving himself on a better finish. In fact, he left himself on no finish.
100.
Well, it looks like it's going to be a case of all's well but ends well. Sherrock needs a couple of trebles here to leave herself on a finish of any description.
100.
Which she's unable to
Dylan
oblige.
Yoka, 80.
So Dylan Slevin has had darts to win it 4-0. 4-1. Is going to get darts to win it 4... Oh, my goodness me. That's ricocheted off 5. To be perfectly honest, he's lucky it's diverted into the treble 5. That could have been a whole lot worse for him.
45.
But he is really, really crawling over the line. He missed the
100.
big 15, which actually would have left him double 15. This is just getting over the line now. Nothing more than that. Double 8. And over the line he is. And into Saturday night he is. Dylan Slevin gets the job done. He beats Fallon Sherrock by 4 legs to 2 to qualify through to tomorrow night's final. Dylan Slevin's in. And he's got a 1 in 6 chance for the win. And that is the look of a very relieved man. Coming up on the other side of this short break, we're going to be watching Andy Hamilton take on James Buckby. We're on Pluto TV on this Friday night, and before the break we saw Dylan Slevin confirm his place through to Saturday night here at the Super Series, courtesy of a 4-2 success over Fallon Sherrock. Game number 8 is a meeting between James Buckby and Andy Hamilton. Buckby needs just a couple of legs to confirm of his place through to Saturday at the expense of that man on your screen there, Andy Hamilton. So here we go then, game number 8 of 10 that we're broadcasting to you live this evening here on Pluto TV. And Buckby, off the back of a 4-1 defeat to Fallon Sherrock, is looking to respond. And that is the perfect start.
Well, that's a response, isn't it? Maximum there from James Buckby to get himself underway, and it's impressive.
58.
All the time being more and more impressed by James Buckley.
Well, this is how the in-play table looks.
100.
Neil Duff is in gold. He's qualified. Dylan Slevin's in gold. He's qualified. James Buckby is in the middle of a gold sandwich on 8 points. But a couple of legs, he can make himself gold too.
43. 80. 140.
So Buckby 141 to take
141.
the opening leg. Not to be, but he has got plenty of time on side. Remember, he can just 2 to qualify through.
58. 80. Change your car, 83.
So this is step 1. Remember, needing 2.
43.
And Tops has been left to get himself halfway towards qualification through to tomorrow night's final.
$60. Change your car, 40.
Well, it's a bit of rather sedate opening leg.
20. And your car, 120.
And Hamilton has a chance here to steal. Treble E's Tops. Tops up, has to shuffle across.
Getting shot the first
And
leg.
manages to find a way through to the bottom left-hand corner. The hammer 1-0 to the good.
Second
Breaker
leg,
thrown a
Andy,
leg,
first.
which for the most part, he found himself second best in.
Bit of a steal, but a bit of a show of experience there once again from the hammer. Something we know James doesn't really have yet.
59.
You can't buy experience. You can only get it through doing. Moments like this will help.
140.
140 for Buckby. Remember, still needing those 2 legs to qualify through to tomorrow night's final and to complete the list of 6. Me and Matt will be back in the Super Series commentary gantry tomorrow night from 7:30.
60.
We'll be making the climb up the stairs into our salubrious surroundings. 85. You'll be taking the small steps over to the studio for some analysis as well.
$36. $60. $96. $60.
So Buckby 156 to get us back on level terms at 1 apiece.
$34. James your car 156.
Hamilton, there's been a few moments tonight where he's been sublime, but there's also been other moments where he's been a little bit off the pace. Remember, this is his last game this evening. Started
60.
so well. Back-to-back averages of 90, but could only get the one win in those games. Didn't get a double in his game against Neil Duff. Stole the opening leg, but Buckby looks set to break back.
100. James your car 96.
Just leaving a little bit to be desired,
64.
isn't he, at the
On your
moment,
car,
James, in these key
116.
moments? It was a 120 steal
100.
for Andy Hamilton in
James
the
your
previous
car
leg.
32.
Same equation there, wasn't it? Despite the fact the numbers are a little bit different, it was just one of each, a treble, a single and a double.
Getting shot on the second leg, James Buckby.
Just a double required here for James Buckby.
Third leg, James
Who
is
now
through
finds
first.
himself
Game
in
on.
a position where a solitary holder throw here will see him through to tomorrow night's final. And we can complete the jigsaw. Which is a favourite hobby of our referee, Paul Hinks.
137.
Do you know that's something I'd actually like to add to it? You know, at the
96.
start where the players' slides come up and it like is written information about it, like hobbies, pastimes, and hidden skills.
60.
Go on, give us some more. Give us some more, Henry. We've got Paul Hinks and jigsaw puzzles. What else we got?
Ooh. Adam Hunt is very good at playing the piano.
Aidan Kurt writes
57.
books.
Yes, I've actually got one of his books downstairs, Rusty the Old Bicycle. I got it for a Secret Santa the other year. Genuinely, that was my Secret Santa. Someone gave me Rusty the Old
125.
Bicycle. Sam Spivey used to be a club cricketer. Charlie Manby used to be a decent level club cricketer.
121.
Richie Howson, snooker player, although that's not really a secret, is it?
I did say hobbies and pastimes.
59.
Oh, do you remember Adam Paxton?
I remember Adam Paxton, yes.
He used to be an academy goalkeeper for Derby County. And he told me that he saved a penalty off of Erling Haaland.
$89. James your car 120.
This is for qualification. Chance comes and goes. He hopes he's
60.
going to get another opportunity,
Andy Carr,
providing Hamilton doesn't
138.
find the 138.
$39. Change your car, 60.
That slip will just give a little bit more encouragement here to James. Just make him feel he's got a bit more time.
Getting shot the
I
third
don't like
leg,
that
James
play.
Buckby.
Lights the dart to stay out the way from Tops
Fourth
to
leg
give him
Andy
the
to throw
space. But
first.
that reaction,
Game on.
and by reaction I mean no reaction from James, makes me think he doesn't know.
He doesn't know that that's the dart that sent him through to Saturday night's final. That is that. Fair is foul and foul is fair.
60.
The 6 players that are qualified through are in. Do you want to have a look at some more gold names?
67.
Because you may have seen at the beginning of this match, James Buckby was stuck in a golden sandwich. Would you like to see some more gold, Matthew?
180.
There's a bit of gold in those lights.
We almost lost the 50p in the meter as well.
140.
By the way, on the subject of players and handy at certain things, Scott Campbell is the most incredible chef.
83.
Ted Everts.
Yes. Oh my goodness. You remember the chocolates he made us and baked us and whatever?
58.
Victor Tingstrom's okay at ice hockey.
Victor Tim's okay at ice hockey. Give him the big sell, Henry.
$64. $100. Andy your car, 114.
Hamilton 114 to level up at 2-2. Single. Tops. Just
74.
high.
Change your car, 136. $96. Andy your car, 40.
Double top for Andrew Hamilton.
Getting shot on the fourth leg, Andy Hamilton.
2-2.
Fifth leg, James to throw first. Game on. $41.
Gold.
95.
James Buckby. Neil Duff, Dylan Slevin. All in gold. Thank goodness for that graphic. Let's Bell does have a bit of trouble, Matt.
85.
You know what that means now, Henry, don't you?
Go on.
They're indestructible.
And they're always believing that they can win the Saturday night jackpot.
First musical reference of the evening.
100.
It's taken us to game 8. That's a record for us. We managed to get Victor Tingstrom's ice hockey skills in before the music.
137. $39. $78.
Wouldn't it be ironic if James Buckby was to win this game and then give it the big celebration because that's the moment he thinks he's qualified? A bit like if you remember the Isle of Man.
Oh, Glenn Durrant.
Glenn
Yes.
Durrant, yes.
Back in the days when he could win a game.
Hit the wire. Give it the big one. I think Charlie,
58.
wasn't he, the referee on
Change
the
your car,
business?
160.
Charlie. He's got a very interesting skill, Charlie
83.
Courtefine. He's got this incredible ability to hoover any food that could possibly be in front of him. He hit my carbonara and I've never forgiven him.
139. Change your
77.
car, 77.
For 3-2 leads and to put him one away from victory.
Game shown the 5th leg, James
And
Buckby.
3-2 it is.
6th leg, Andy to
I'm
through
also
first.
wondering,
Game
what
on.
does Andy Hamilton know in terms of permutations?
The bare minimum. I don't think he's that fussed, Andy Hamilton. The only thing he cares about is winning and the darts that are in front of him right now.
48.
The table will be the table. But Buckby's booked his place now, hasn't he? Through
100.
to Saturday night. Our full lineup's confirmed. We know all 6 players. We just need a crowd.
Yes. And it might be the biggest crowd you've ever performed in front of, Matt, if we get our tickets up for dartsworldstore.com. There we go. There's the QR code. Give that a little bit of a scan. You might see a few of them. You might be able to wave a placard in the air as a result.
60.
You can wave your placard in the air like you don't care. If you scan that QR code and head over to dartsworldstore.com.
140.
I have a more sedate QR code these days. You remember the days of the tungsten T-Rex, Matt?
Unfortunately.
59. Andy your car, 133.
Reigning world champion was a fan. Anyway, 133 for Hamilton to take us all the way. 6 from here, but he's going to need the full quota.
57. 57. Andy your car, 76.
2 8s for 3 apiece. Oh, he's clipped that wire.
$45. Andy your car, 16.
Another opportunity for Andy Hamilton to take us the distance. Eyes locked in, laser focused here on the 8-8.
8.
Probably still feels he can win it. Probably still feels he's in with a chance.
$40. Andy your car, 8.
4-4.
Getting shown the
And we're
6th
going
leg,
all the
Andy
way.
Hamilton. 7th final leg, James is through first. Game on. $57.
Well, Andy's going to be leaving us after this game.
96. 100.
But we do still have 2 further games to go. Neil Duff, already qualified, taking on Fallon Sherrock, who will be playing her last game as part of the competitive action this week. And Dylan Slevin will be coming back against James Buckby. 2 players who will be here tomorrow evening, battling it out for that golden ticket
45.
for the golden event. And it's kind of got an all-new feel about Saturday night, doesn't it? Couple of new
121.
faces in there. New opportunities, new fixtures. Maybe a big new story.
100.
I go back to the Adam Warner. It's the closest comparison we've got, isn't it, to the likes of James Buckby, who's coming through the university art scene. And I just remember that interview Adam Warner that week when he was like, "This changes everything." It tripled his net worth, he said. He then used that money to go to Q
140.
school. He's been on the professional tour ever since. Who knows what this unlocks and what journey this puts you on?
83. And your car 86.
So this to win it. 86 for Hamilton. This is to win the game, but ultimately it's a lost battle for him. Needed to win 4-1 or better to stand a chance. But can he sign off at least with a bit of pizzazz?
61.
The bullseye not
Change your
there.
car 116.
Well, just the one treble needed here for Buckby to leave himself a opportunity at double top. But that full-on figure tells you what you need to know.
He doesn't know he's through, does he?
No chance.
84.
No chance
And
whatsoever.
your car 25.
And I wonder whether Andy Hamilton knows that he's out. There could be an awkward moment here if Hamilton wins, because there might be a big let out from him, a big disappointment from Buckby. Buckby thinks this is to go home, or close to. He don't think he's through.
Getting shown the
Andy
match,
Hamilton
Andy Hamilton.
wins, and Hamilton, I'm not quite sure whether he knows or not, but James Buckby is cutting the figure of a man that does not know he's qualified yet. That is a disappointed man, and that's a man in a couple of moments' time is going to get some very, very good news. Hamilton 4, Buckby 3. 2 more games to go. 2 more games to go, and we know the 3 players that qualified through. Andy Hamilton got the better of James Buckby 4-3 before the break, but he needed to win that game by 4-1 or 4-0. Game number 9. Fallon Sherrock and Neil Duff going toe-to-toe. Neil on 8 points, can finish with 10, and can actually win the group if he can win this game by a 4-0 scoreline against the Queen of the Palace, who won our first 2 tonight. Can't finish anything above bottom place, unfortunately for her.
Game on.
But Neil Duff, I know results wouldn't quite indicate it, but actually you look at the performances tonight, there's been some really good stuff in there. 91, 91 and 89 the averages.
And now his attention moves to winning the group.
135.
Don't think the players aren't bothered about where they finish, and it's just about qualifying. That is the minimum that they want, to get that qualification.
140.
Then it's about can I win the group. Reason being, more prize money. Higher you finish up in the table, the more money you're going to be making, and it's about making as much as you can if you're going to be committing the amount of time that's required to compete here at the Super Series.
And for someone like Neil Duff, who nowadays resides in Switzerland, it does make that journey a little bit
100
more worth it. And fair to say that Switzerland isn't the cheapest place to live.
100.
Absolutely not.
You've been out there recently, haven't you? It's not exactly somewhere you go if you're short of a few quid.
Well, when you say recent, I mean 2 years
100.
ago, but yeah, we're recent.
Well, it's more recent than I've been out there.
Henry, you barely leave Portsmouth.
116. Fanuka 161.
Fallon's scared this earlier on in the evening.
$83. Neil the car 65.
Double top.
Game
And
shot
it
the
goes
first
for
leg,
Team
Neil.
Data, and Neil Duff leads this game by a leg to 0.
Second leg Fallon to through first. Game on.
Earlier on in the evening, Henry, I tasked you with the challenge to give me your 2026 Dream Lineup Super Series.
81.
Looking at your notes, I'd guess you forgot.
Yes. So you're going to make me make it up as I go along?
Well, what I will do is I will read out the one from our producer,
81.
who wasn't tasked with it, but still did the challenge, unlike you. Group A, Jose de Souza,
100.
Adrian Lewis, Derek Coulson, Steve Beaton, Andreas Harrison, and Paul Lim. Group B,
59.
Simon Whitlock, Aidan Kirk, Scott Campbell. Group C, Peter Wachuri, Andy Davidson, Big Boris. Left out Neil Duff.
140.
And the Edgar.
Yeah, but that's because you'll be up here in the
100.
commentary box.
$70. Follow the car 121. $57. Near the car 110. $43. Follow the car 64. Game shot on the second leg, Fallon Sherrock.
Bright start to this one from both.
Third leg nailed it through first. Game on.
A game that can only affect positions.
45.
Places in this table.
Right, I've come up with 12.
140.
And this is a completely selfish list of players that I want to watch and people that I just enjoy seeing here.
Well, that's the whole meaning of the challenge.
So,
100.
I would have Steve Beaton. Why would you not have Steve Beaton?
Yep, good.
Andreas Harrison.
Yeah, like it.
Favourite beard in World Darts.
45.
Sam Spivey. Just so I could say the word Spivey man.
Played well at the UK Open this
Played
weekend.
very well. The UK Open was a leg away from making it into round
60.
4 of a Seaside. Martin Thomas, because just how can you not have Martin Thomas? Like,
66.
he's just one of the happiest people you'll ever meet. Steve West. Neil's in there. Scott Campbell, for the solitary reason is I want him to do all the cooking for me.
63.
Jared Cole. Because, in case you didn't know, me and Jared are friends,
140.
you see. I'll tell you the rest in the next leg. Because Sherrock here, looking at 110
38.
to break
Following
the
your car,
throw and go
110.
2-1 to the goods.
$74. $95. Following car, 36.
So double 18. A favourite double. Now looking at 2/16. This is getting rather awkward.
20. Neil your car, 100.
Well, there's one
80.
for the
Following your
second,
car,
just eluding
16.
him. So Sherrock returning for double 8 to break the throw and go 2-1 to the goods.
No score.
For
Neil
Fallon
your car,
Sherrock
20.
has done a Paul Hogan.
Well, that's twice on the end of that leg there that she's pulled the
Change
dart
on the
low on
third
the
leg, Neil
18s,
Duff.
on the 8s. Neil Duff says, thank you very much. Keep doing that, please.
Fourth leg, Fallon to throw
Well,
first.
the final
Game
4
on.
players on my list would be Richie Burnett, because he's Richie Burnett. John Henderson, because everybody loves Hendo.
95.
Danny Van Truyt, because you know stupidity isn't too far away. And Ted Everts, because again, he'll be able to bring the dessert after Scott Campbell cooks the main course.
135. $60.
Have you not seen the error with your plan here?
Why?
You put one in Group B and one in Group C, which are at different time slots. So how are they
85.
going to cook dinner and dessert? One's playing in the afternoon, one's playing in
I'm
the
not
evening.
giving them specific groups. I've just put 12
40.
names down. The first 12 names pretty much that came in my head. I'm gonna be on. I'm gonna be honest. I've not really taken this challenge rather seriously.
100.
Well, you're talking about chefs and you've not put Paul Nicholson in.
Yeah, but he doesn't play anymore.
Well, there's another wild low dart there from Fallon Sherrock.
114.
She sees the funny side, as does Neil and Hinks.
Well, this is all becoming a bit of a shambles now.
$65.
It used to happen to me down the local a lot. That when you was playing someone, if they missed, they always like in the treble 18 or tops.
100. Neil the car, 116.
Treble. Oh, I was trying to land away over the top, was unable to do so.
42. Follow car,
So-
92.
Sherrock here, looking at 92, goes the bullseye route to give herself the guarantee with the last.
67.
And that was as
Neil the
close
car,
as you could get
74.
without finding the target. And so Duff here looking at 74 to make it 3-1. 20 for double 20. Double 20 it is.
54.
Drops just
From the
low,
car,
and so Sherrock
25.
returning for 25 to square up at 2-2. 2-8.
17. Neil the car,
So
20.
Duff to go one away.
Gauge
And
on
it
the
goes.
fourth leg,
3-1 Neil
Duff.
Duff leads, and he has the darts in this leg. Now, considering
Fifth
that
leg
you've
Neil
asked
to
me the
first.
question, I'm going to
Game
throw
on.
it back at you. Who would be your Mount Rushmore 12?
Jose de Souza,
100.
Adrian Lewis,
55.
Derek Coulson, Steve Beaton, Andreas Harrison. Good shouts. I'd have to put Neil Duff in for the success that he's had here at the Super Series. Absolutely.
100.
So you're not copying our producer's homework completely then?
You've got to put adaptions in, otherwise people notice.
Is it like, you know, when
81.
you're at school and you... Well, I suppose you wouldn't have had the internet at school. But at school, when you try to cut and paste something from the internet, you put some fancy
100.
words in so the teacher didn't realise actually you were just cutting and pasting off of Wikipedia.
Yeah, you can get caught out that way.
81.
I once used Twire on a game of Scrabble, which turned out to be a funnel on
81.
a furnace. Didn't work out too well for me.
Well, Duff here looking at 120 to win this contest and to win it by a 4-leg-to-1 scoreline
96.
for
Neil the car,
Fanasher. It was a good
120.
start to the night. 2 decent performances, 2 decent wins, but it looks like it's going to be 2 defeats to end proceedings. Duff unable to take out the 120. There wasn't a
100.
necessity to do so, first time of asking. Ton scored, 2 tens left to wrap this up by a 4-1 score.
134. Neil the car, 20.
Awkward. That's why he has to move across.
Gauge on
And
the
then
mats,
find a
Neil
way
Duff.
home. And that's a 4-1 win to round off Neil Duff's group. He's pretty much home and hosed in terms of winning the group, unless somebody else wins 4-0 in the last game. And that's either one of Dylan Slevin and James Buckby. So we are into the final game of the evening here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth, and it is a meeting between Dylan Slevin and James Buckby. Now, the only way Neil Duff doesn't win the group is if one of these two players win this final game by a 4-0 scoreline. The winner of this 4-0 will finish top. Providing there's not a 4-0 scoreline, the winner of this game would be in second, and the loser of it would be in third position going into tomorrow's play. So that's the tail of the tape.
First leg, Dylan to throw
as far
first.
as this game is concerned.
Game on.
Slevin and Buckby bring this group to a close.
$60. 140.
I'd love to have known the reaction of James when he got backstage and went, "No, you throw. You're guaranteed
58.
to be in. You've gone gold." Because he certainly left the stage not certain that he was in that position.
85.
Well, you could see in his facial expression that he was almost
82.
hopeful. Well, he was hopeful that Andy Hamilton missed those darts towards the end. He did, and Hamilton won. And he must have been thinking that he was in a very, very dim place right now. But he'll be thankful that
60.
he's through. He'll be joining his roommate, Kieran Ford, in tomorrow night's finale.
Well, let's be quite fair to
39.
Dylan Slevin. The performance of Dylan Slevin tonight has probably been one of, if not the best of the night. So he's not the guy you want to go up
140.
against at the end of the night if you think you need a win.
However, there was a tail off by about 10
56.
points from game 2
James
to
Carr,
game 3.
76.
But he did win. That was the important thing against Fallon Sherrock. And it's Buckby off to the more positive start against the throw.
56.
A dart at tops missed. He's going to come back for 3 more at double 10 to get himself up and running.
100. James Carr, 20.
2 10s.
Game shot of the
1-0.
first leg, James Buckby.
Breakdown for Buckby.
Second leg, James to throw first. Game on. $85. 134. 100. 77.
'Any bona fide favourite
45.
for you tomorrow night, Matt, so far?
If pushed, I would go for
100.
the Duff man. I think it's wide open. I think it really is wide open. It's got that sort of vibe about it where
59.
I don't think there is an out-and-out front runner. There's not that guy to go up and beat. There's not that
44.
monstrous performance as of yet. And that's why I'm attracted to Neil Duff in that situation, because the titles he's got in this room, the success he's had.
100. Dylan Carr,
Well, he knows how to win, and he doesn't care how he wins.
Well, that is ultimately how you win.
100. James Carr,
You care about the
112.
result and the destination, not the journey.
Well, it was always going to be awkward to
60.
try and find a way
Dylan
above
Carr,
for James
46.
there. Was unable to oblige, and so Slevin looking at double top.
Game show the second
And we
leg,
are
Dylan
back
Slevin.
on level terms, one apiece in this game. And that
Third leg, Dylan to
means
throw first.
that
Game
Neil
on.
Duff has won the group. The fact that both players have picked up a leg in this game means that the Duff man is the main man. He wins the group. The winner of this
100.
game is going to finish second. .
60. 140. 81. 91. 85. Dylan the car, 170.
Big fish time. Not anymore.
82.
So 88 here may just, well, I'd say may just be a poke at
60.
the ball, but that would
Dylan
be
the
on the
car,
proviso
88.
that Buckby left himself on a finish. Doesn't even have to contemplate that route. He's going to have 2 in hand at double 14, double 7.
74. 121. Dylan the car, 14.
So 2 7s.
Getting shot on the third leg, Dylan Slevin.
And Slevin, 2-1 to the good. Double 7 found.
Full leg James to throw
Halfway
first.
towards
Game
victory, halfway towards topping the group. Sorry, finishing second in the group.
134. 100. 115. 100. 140.
Well, 140 there leaves Buckby and 112 to try and level us up at 2 apiece.
100.
Only a
Change the
ton
car,
there from
112.
Slevin. So Buckby here, 6 darts on the 112 to square us up. Can he just find a way above? Now that's awkward. Flight's in the way. That's a really good dart. Double 16.
Game shot on the
Double
fourth leg, James
16s
Buckby.
there. And we're back on level terms at 2-2. And that, the
Fifth leg,
first
Dylan to throw
three-figure
first.
checkout
Game on.
of the night for James Buckby.
$140. 100.
'Gotta say, this has been a
125.
enjoyable final game of the night. Final match
60.
before tomorrow evening's finale at the Live Lounge.
Well, you asked me, Henry, if I got a bit of a favourite. Does anyone stand out for you
100.
so far?
No one cares for my opinion.
Well, I just asked. This is your moment.
85.
We've
Dylan
seen
Carr,
the
136.
James Buckby script written before. We've seen it written before. And you know what?
96.
This is a series which for a few weeks was all about outsiders, wasn't it? It was all about the unheralded players, the likes of Keanu Van Velzen, the likes of Steve Green. Players that perhaps
55.
are not at the top of
Dylan
your
Carr,
thinking, but they
40.
go and do great things on finals night. Buckby could be another one that does that. But he may well lose this leg. He should lose this leg from here.
Game shot on the
Slevin
fifth
finds
leg,
a
Dylan
tense.
Slevin.
And he leads this game by a 3-leg to
6 leg
2
James to throw
margin.
first. Game on. $99. 140. 41. 140. 137. $62.
Really good fun with the last there for James. However, Slevin from here has overturned the throw. He should get the job done from this particular scenario. 140 leaves him on 84 after 9 to wrap it up by 4 legs to 2.
115. Deluca 84.
6 for the match. We'll look at the 16s. Finds a single 8.
44.
Will leave himself on tops to wrap it up by 4 legs to 2 and to complete his group with victory.
140. Deluca 40.
140 makes things interesting, but this for the match. Tops for Dylan Slevin. Tops found for Dylan Slevin. And it is a 4-2 win for the young Irishman against James Buckby. He'll finish second, Buckby will finish third. And that is how it ends in Group B. We're going to have reaction and we're going to have analysis and we're going to have that in a couple of minutes' time. Welcome back to the live lounge in Portsmouth. The night has come to a close in Group B, and before the break we saw Dylan Slevin get the better of James Buckby by 4 legs to 2. As Neil Duff, perhaps unsurprisingly the player that made the big moves on Friday, he tops the table going into tomorrow night's action here in Portsmouth, and him and Dylan Slevin both on 10 points, but it was legs difference which saw the Duff man get over the line as he looks for a 6th weekly title here at the Super Series. Slevin and James Buckby, the other 2 players making through. Andy Hamilton and Fallon Sherrock are the 2 players that depart us following the end of this particular group. So that is what we've seen, and we've been watching it all in the company of primetime Matthew Edgar, who joins me here in the studio now. And it has to be said that it was the experience of Neil Duff that prevailed tonight. It wasn't all plain sailing at the start, that has to be said. But towards the second half of the session, he did what he had to do.
Wasn't plain sailing, I think, is the best way you could describe what we've just seen across this entire group. Before the dart was thrown, we looked at the odds. Dylan Slevin, Neil Duff, the 2 favourites. And we said that it's likely they are the 2 that will battle it out at the top. And they was, in the end, positions number 1 and 2. And it kind of made sense in the end, but how we got there, probably not how we'd have expected. Neil Duff did what Neil Duff does. He does the right things at the right times. There's no real way to sort of analyse Neil in a new sense, to something we haven't already done, to something that's going to unearth, or be something someone hasn't heard before already. Neil Duff's just done the same that he does all the time when he comes here to the Super Series. The problem for this group, and the problem for the players down there tomorrow, is that tends to be enough.
So Neil Duff through to tomorrow night. Dylan Slevin, it has to be said, after you lost that first game, I know he played well in that game against Andy Hamilton, but I think there was a few alarm bells that perhaps from our perspective, at least anyway, began to ring for him.
Yeah, there was a few signs in there that he can panic a little bit, can't he? And I did question, certainly early on in the evening, some of the ways in which he was going for shots and some of the numbers and the breakdowns of which he was using. I think if he is going to go back on the Pro Tour and then stay there, that's an area of his game he really needs to address. But that's an easy part he can address. Watch some of the games back. Watch some games on TV, the professionals, see what they're doing. Because some of these little changes you can make in regards to the maths and the patterns of which you do can buy you an extra visit to the board, or it can restrict your opponent's time. And he was getting those wrong. You know, there is a right way to do certain things, and numbers is just one of those things that's mathematically proven. There is a right and a wrong in some situations, and he did choose the wrong direction. That being said, his quality was enough to get him through this group, but there is going to be a ceiling to your game if you're going to be giving away 3 darts. That wasn't in this Group B. Will it be tomorrow? I think he's a lively contender.
In terms of James Buckby, not as good as night 1, but again, did enough, did what he had to do.
It was never going to be as good as night 1, was it? Because night 1 was a blast. Night 1 was incredible for James, and it was just all gain. You know, being here at the Super Series was a big opportunity for him. He's not the most experienced player in the world. He's only been down here once, and that wasn't even in a regulation week. And he produced some fantastic darts and really did play beyond his means and beyond his expectations. But then those expectations change. He's just seeing his friend and his roommate qualify. He wants to be there as well. And not only does he want to be there, but he's got a good opportunity to do so, where you'd almost suggest that it would be a failure then if he didn't get in because of the position he came in tonight with. So he had a lot of pressure on his shoulders tonight, and I think he really handled it well. And that will really put him into a good position, not just for tomorrow night, but I think the experience of which he's gained here could help him throughout 2026.
Just a word on the other 2 players, Andy Hamilton and Fallon Sherrock.
Fallon left it too late, didn't she? She left far too much to do. Didn't pick up any wins last night, minus 12. But great night tonight, much more like it. That's the Fallon Sherrock we've seen so far throughout 2026, who's only really been seconded by Bo Greaves on the Women's Series. I think she's going to have a good year on the Women's Series. And ultimately for her, all eyes lead towards the World Match Play that's coming up in a few months' time now. For Andy Hamilton, great to see him up there again. Great to see him playing with a smile on his face. Always a pleasure to see a player like Andy Hamilton, especially producing at 111 average. That bumps up his career best average here at the Super Series, and it's great to see that he's still got that in the locker. That range, probably just a little too varied at the moment to put him down as a lively contender for winning things here at the Super Series, but he's always a danger and a threat.
So the pool stage action has come to a close for another week. We head into Saturday night. We know the 6 players that are all in play, and this is how the tournament bracket looks. Adam Mole won Group A. That was on Wednesday afternoon. Neil Duff, Dylan Slevin, James Buckby through Group B, with Kieran Ford and Patrick Decker both making it through Group C earlier on this afternoon. So that's how the tournament breakdown looks. This is how tomorrow night looks, and the 2 groups are in play. In fact, the 2 housemates or the 2 roommates go head-to-head with Kieran Ford and James Buckby both in action, and James Buckby actually has to kick off with a game against Neil Duff just like tonight. Group 1, Adam Mole, Dylan Slevin and Patrick Decker. Is there a more favourable group for one compared to another?
No, I think they've both got, I don't want to say inexperience, but let's say opportunity. Both groups got opportunity. I mean, when we look at name power, star power, it's not a traditional Saturday night where we tend to get those sort of familiar names come through, and with that becomes opportunity. No one was a familiar name until they went and achieved something. There's a chance here for these players to go out there and achieve, and with that in mind as well, they'll look around the room and they're not going to be scared of what they are seeing. They're getting through to a Saturday night and they'll go in and go, oh, actually, I can win this. There's opportunity here. And there is. It's absolutely littered with opportunity tomorrow. It's going to be a fascinating watch. We could have a new name on a weekly title.
Matt, thank you very much. We shall see you tomorrow night. Plenty coming up on the interim here on Pluto TV. Coming up, we've got the big trebles and the big doubles challenge, which, well, it implies exactly what you think it is. There's bigger trebles, there's bigger doubles. Saturday night, 7:30, finals night. James Buckby in action there. And Nathan Potter, somebody who I think is going to make a real march in 2026. He's in action in Week 8. He's in Group A. You can watch that on Monday morning. And after that, you'll be able to see the teams for the international pairs. But that's it from us. We shall see you tomorrow from 7:30 to see who the 7th player through to Champions Week 13 is going to be. Good night from us.
The new Modus Super Series champion.
Oh my word!
It's another incredible moment tonight.
Jeff Smith.
It's match start.
5-star performer, and the bullseye is hit.
It's Johnny Magnet.
You will be disappointed with that. He wanted to have
Graham
one dart.
requires 20.
Graham Usher wins the first game of Champions Night, and it was an absolute ripper. He hit one of them on tops. He missed one on double 12. Which one is it? It's the hit.
Outside opportunity for Andy Hamilton. Van der Velde should be getting a match start again here. He's already had one. Mr. Dart at tops for the match to win 4-1. And the Dart at double 16 gets the job done there for Jurgen van der Velde. He gets over the line with a 4-2.
Did he go for tops, or did he just overshoot the single? Jimmy doesn't care. Jimmy just looks to eat this up to make the semi-finals for the second time. Adam Kaplas has been eliminated. Keep us guessing. This time he's trying to leave double 18. He knows best, and he takes the lead. He is 2 darts away
Jeff requires 86.
from a Super Series final. He's 1 dart away. He doesn't need any more darts. Jeff Smith makes the Series 11 final. Is Usher losing his cool a little bit here?
Oh, absolutely. Right now, I'd say the head's gone. And you don't have long to recover. It is very, very short format darts. Vansky's halfway to victory.
He only needs one more. Jimmy Vansky is yet again into a Modus Super Series final.
Flashback vibes. Can Jimmy Vansky do the same? Just needs the one treble here on the 19s. Finds it. For the ball.
101.
Oh, unlucky. A lot of pressure on it. He's going to split it. 2 darts for double 4 for the match.
Game.